The Zex Thraxians were bored. After centuries of technological advancement and genetic engineering, their species had reached what they considered the pinnacle of evolution. Their crystalline bodies housed minds of unparalleled intelligence, and their massive ships could traverse galaxies in mere days. But with such advancement came an unexpected price: monotony. That's why Captain Cruz thought it would be amusing to pluck a primitive being from some backwater planet for entertainment. Their scanners had detected a suitable candidate on a small blue world in an unremarkable solar system, a human female named Sarah Chen, a rock climbing instructor from Colorado. This should provide adequate amusement. Cruz transmitted to his crew as their tractor beam activated, pulling the sleeping human from her bedroom into their containment chamber. What the Zex Thraxians didn't know was that Sarah wasn't just any rock climbing instructor. She was a former Special Forces operative who had served 3 tours in combat zones before finding peace in the mountains. The moment she regained consciousness in the sterile, crystalline chamber, her training kicked in. The aliens watched through their monitoring systems as Sarah immediately began examining her surroundings. Instead of panicking like their previous specimens, she methodically tested the walls, the floor, and even the air composition. Cruz was puzzled by her calm demeanor. "Fascinating," transmitted Science Officer Vextral. "The creature appears to be analyzing its environment rather than displaying fear responses." Sarah had already noticed the slight shimmer in the corner that betrayed the presence of a force field, the barely visible seams where panels joined, and the faint humming that suggested some kind of power system. 20 years of military experience had taught her to observe everything. The Zex Thraxians decided to begin their usual entertainment protocol, introducing various stimuli to provoke reactions. They started with temperature fluctuations, expecting their specimen to cower or show distress. Instead, Sarah removed layers of clothing strategically, creating a makeshift rope from her torn shirt. When they introduced their fear-inducing sound frequencies, she didn't cower. She studied the pattern of the vibrations and how they affected the crystal walls. When they tried to disorient her with shifting gravity, she adapted her military zero-G training, using the walls to her advantage. "This is unexpected," Cruz transmitted uneasily. "Perhaps we should terminate the experiment?" But before they could act, Sarah had already figured out that the crystal walls resonated at specific frequencies. Using her voice and a rhythm learned from years of calling climbing signals, she began to hum precisely matching the harmonic frequency of their containment systems. The Zex Thraxians watched in horror as hairline cracks began appearing in the supposedly impenetrable crystal walls. Their automated systems, designed to prevent specimen escape, activated only to find that Sarah had already used her makeshift rope to create a pulley system with pieces of her shredded clothing. "Impossible," screamed Vextral through the ship's communication network. "Their species is primitive. They haven't even achieved interstellar travel." Sarah had already breached the containment chamber. The ship's defensive systems, designed to stop energy-based life forms, proved remarkably ineffective against old-fashioned human ingenuity and combat training. She navigated through the crystalline corridors, using the ship's own resonance patterns to determine its layout. The crew, having never faced physical combat in their evolved forms, were completely unprepared for Sarah's tactical approach. She didn't need to understand their advanced technology. She just needed to understand basic physics and structural weaknesses, skills honed through years of finding the perfect handholds on sheer cliff faces. Within hours, Sarah had gained control of their propulsion systems by simply applying pressure to key crystalline nodes, something the Zex Thraxians, with their energy-based forms, had never considered a possibility. Using the ship's own communication systems, which she figured out through pattern recognition, she transmitted a simple message back to Earth. "With their advanced equipment, humanity says hello." Let's talk about establishing diplomatic relations. Crust and his crew found themselves facing an unprecedented situation, being offered peace terms by what they had considered a primitive specimen. Sarah, understanding that first contact situations were delicate, had decided that diplomacy was better than destruction, but she made sure they understood that humanity's apparent technological limitations didn't equal weakness. The Thraxians, thoroughly humbled, agreed to establish peaceful contact with Earth. They had learned a valuable lesson. Technological advancement wasn't the only measure of a species' capability. Sometimes, the most dangerous abilities came wrapped in the most unassuming packages. As Sarah supervised the aliens' first official contact with Earth's governments, she couldn't help but smile. She had single-handedly turned an attempted alien abduction into humanity's first step into the galactic community. Not bad for a primitive species. The incident became known throughout the galaxy as the Chen Protocol, a warning to advanced species that technological superiority doesn't always guarantee dominance. Sometimes, the most primitive solutions were the most effective, and underestimating humanity was a dangerous mistake to make. As for the Thraxians, they were never bored again. They had found something far more interesting than entertainment, a species that could teach them that there was more to evolution than just technological advancement. Sometimes, the old ways' determination, adaptability, and raw human ingenuity were the best ways after all.